We expect that peak to be coming sometime mid to late April.
Now at 5 o'clock, a surge in coronavirus cases in Indiana. State leaders now urging everyone to do their part and that the worst is still to come. The state health commissioner saying today cases are increasing dramatically.
Yeah, several major cities around the country also experiencing similar surges. Any moment, the U.S. Coronavirus Task Force will give its daily update. This is a live look where the president just signed a massive relief bill. We'll get to that in a moment.
But first, we have team coverage, including new numbers on who exactly is getting sick. Let's start with our David Williams tonight.
This evening, you could see and hear the seriousness in Governor Eric Holcomb's voice as he talked about our state's fight against COVID-19. Today, State Health Commissioner Dr. Chris Bach said, yes, the numbers of positive cases is on the rise, but that is because more people are being tested. Bach is hopeful more in-state labs will be on board in the coming weeks. Governor Eric Holcomb looked square into the cameras at today's briefing and said he needs you to do your part in this pandemic fight.
We don't see the peak yet. These numbers are compounding, especially in certain areas. This is like a snowball that's rolling downhill and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's that community spread illustration. And make no mistake, when you look at that map on the Department of Health's website, and you see big numbers jump out in central Indiana, look over in east central Indiana also. This is all relative. This is urban, this is suburban, and this is rural. And if you don't think it's there, or if you don't think it's coming, we need to talk. It is.
Governor Holcomb also says as we get closer to the surge that we know is coming, right now the state has the inventory to handle where we are today. He says he knows how many ICU beds and ventilators hospitals in the state have, but he would not go into detail about what those exact numbers are. Coming up all new at 6, I'll tell you about what Dr. Chris Bach says that 70 and 80-year-olds in our state are doing right now that helps slow the spread of the coronavirus. For now, we're live in downtown Indianapolis. I'm David Williams, Wish TV, News 8.
All right, David, thanks so much. Let's talk numbers now. New numbers released today show 981 total positive cases in Indiana. That includes 336 new cases reported just yesterday, by far the largest one-day jump in our state. The state also reports 7 new deaths for a total of 24. And for the first time, we are getting numbers about who is getting sick from this virus. News 8's medical reporter, Dr. Mary Gillis, joins us now to talk about this data. Mary, what do you make of these numbers? What stands out to you?
Well, there are two things that struck me about these statistics. First, it was the number of young people testing positive for the coronavirus. Individuals in their teens, 20s, 30s make up almost 1/3 of the cases, whereas those over 70, those considered our vulnerable population, only make up about 20 of the positive cases. So this is really striking.
So why would this be happening?
And, you know, there's this behavioral concept called a near-miss bias, where individuals engage in risky behavior despite knowing the risks. And when nothing happens, they attribute it to sort of pure luck. And this actually perpetuates the risky behavior, putting them at an increased risk of the infection. So while we're urging the public to practice precautions such as social distancing, this demographic might not be complying as they should be. That's just one possibility. The younger demographic here in Indiana is showing such high rates.
Very interesting. What else stands out to you about these numbers?
So another thing that was surprising was the percentage of infection of males versus females. The number of females infected here in Indiana is actually higher than the number of males. It's only 4%, but the trend is something to really pay attention to because it's an outlier compared to the rest of the world. If you look at France, if you look at Norway and Great Britain, the percentage of men infected with coronavirus is between 70 and 75%. So we'll have to, see how things unfold as more states release the data.
All right, we will follow it closely. Dr. Mary Gillis, thanks so much. Phil, over to you.
All right, good stuff, ladies. Thank you very much. At least 4 IMPD officers have tested positive for the coronavirus. Dozens more officers self-quarantined, waiting on test results. As News 8's Richard Essex reports, IMPD has moved roll call meetings to control the spread of the virus.
Indianapolis Metro Police are developing a contingency plan right now in case staffing levels drop too low. The first IMPD officer has been off work since March 12th, the second since March 16th, and the third officer that works for a covert police unit tested positive around the same time. This afternoon, the department confirmed to News 8 that 4 officers tested positive for COVID-19 virus. All 4 officers are quarantined at home and being monitored for any progression of the symptoms. The department has taken steps to control the spread of the virus. This afternoon, IMPD's downtown district roll call was held outside on the sidewalk. All cops are given personal protection equipment and instructed to not engage people any closer than 6 feet unless absolutely necessary. The department has temporarily closed many offices and are restricting access to others. Police and all first responders that suspect they've been exposed to the virus are being tested free of charge at 2 drive-through locations, and many of them are awaiting results.
We have several dozen officers who are waiting for test results right now.
That are quarantined.
That are on quarantine, yes.
The department is not releasing exactly how many officers are under self-quarantine because they say the numbers change almost by the hour. If staffing levels do drop too low, officers that are currently in administrative roles could be brought back out onto the street. In Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV, News 8.
All right, Richard, thanks so much.
The chair will count for a quorum.
$2.2 million rescue package now has the president's signature. President Trump signed the bill about 20 minutes ago. The House passed it earlier today by a voice vote. The measure will speed government payments of $1,200 to most Americans. It should also increase jobless benefits for millions of people thrown out of work. Also breaking, President Trump has issued an order that forces General Motors to produce ventilators for coronavirus patients. That president issued the order under the Defense Production Act. So he says negotiations with GM had been productive, but says, quote, GM was wasting time, and says his actions will help ensure the quick production of ventilators that will save American lives. GM had earlier announced it had finalized a deal with a company called Ventec Life Systems. The deal would allow them to build about 10,000 ventilators a month at its Kokomo factory starting in April. GM's plant in Warren, Michigan will also start producing surgical masks next week.
Ours are getting relief tonight. All tenants in the city market can defer their rent payments for 2 months. Mayor Joe Hogsett announcing the program this afternoon. Each business can choose to pay the funds over the remainder of their next lease, and there will be no additional fees or interest. And we talked with the mayor about the program via Skype.
I think it's a responsible step for really all landlords to consider during these difficult times to try to take advantage of the situation to help renters, whether they be commercial or residential, make it through the COVID crisis until they can get back up and running, and then hopefully business will be back to usual.
So we also talked with some of the current city market tenants as well. News 8's Leah Hodges has that part of our coverage.
Foot traffic is few and far in between at City Market. It's a change in pace for Grecian Garden Restaurant, a tenant for 18 years.
These are crazy times and very, very slow. I think there's maybe 3 of us open in here right now out of the whole market, 3 or 4 of us.
They're just one of many small businesses who can defer up to 2 months of rent. Tenants can pay the funds over the remainder of their lease. The mayor says City Market has experienced a significant loss in revenue since restrictions have been in place.
It is harder for small business owners. They probably don't have the cash reserves that large businesses have to, sustain times like this. And it's also uncertainty of how long it's going to last. You don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks or 3 months, and it's hard to plan.
It's also lightening the burden for Papa Gus Restaurant, who's been working since the outbreak started.
I've been really worried about it, and going, we got to make this work too, plus our personal bills. So this is great news. We needed this.
The one thing business owners miss is the morale of this place. There's usually tons of people in here dining in, and although they're not allowed to dine in, business owners still want customers to come out and show their support.
Lunchtime is our trademark, and so when it's 11:30, 12 o'clock, and it's slow, it's a little depressing. You worry about it.
Mayor Hogsett says he continues to help other business owners outside of the city market. For a list of those resources, you can head to our website, wishtv.com. Reporting in downtown, I'm Aaliyah Hodges, News 8.
All right, Aaliyah, thank you for the latest updates on all of the coronavirus outbreak coverage. Head to wishtv.com. There you can find an in-depth report on how Hoosiers will be affected by the stimulus package. We have also included local and national reaction. It's all right now, wishtv.com.